Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to go into debunking the myths behind Facebook and social strategy for lawyers with the practitioner himself. We should just start a talk show, the Jay and Bill Show. We're going to go into Jay's brilliance behind social and simplicity. I heard him speak at the National Trial Lawyer Summit in Miami, and his beliefs around social are amazing. The title of this video is Toilet Time Marketing. That's in the title of the video. So what is toilet time marketing, Jay?
What I want people to realize is that Facebook and social media marketing doesn't have to take up a large part of your day. And one of the things that we do with our program is give you everything that you need to do to execute quality social media marketing to build your brand. And you can do it in less than 5 minutes a day. And so that's why we call it toilet time marketing. Look, the reality is you're already on your phone when you're there. Right? So why not, instead of just scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through your feed, spend 5 minutes and actually post something that gets engagement, that builds your brand, and that makes you the type of lawyer that people want to hire. So it's really an opportunity for you every day to take 5 minutes and do what needs to be done in two fronts.
So the point there, and we're saying this tongue in cheek, the point there is for, literally just forming the habit of every day spending I forget what you said in your speech. How many minutes per day do you spend?
5 minutes a day is really all you need. I mean, if you're not using a service like ours to get the ideas, it might take you a little while longer. But 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it's something that you can wake up, knock it out, and then go on with your day. But as long as you have those reps is what's going to get you success. I could go to the gym today, not go for a year, I'll still look the same. But if I get up and I go to the gym every day for a year, you're going to see results, right? That's what we're telling people to do. Be consistent, and that wins.
So Jay grew his firm, for those of you who don't know, from 1 to 13 attorneys. In some of our other videos, he goes through, and we should have the link to that video here, he goes through how he went from 1 to 13 attorneys, and he brings you through step by step. So if you guys haven't watched that video, watch that video on our channel. It's really good, how he went from 1 to 13 attorneys. In this video, we're specifically going to go through not just the time it takes to do social media. We all know that we can do this, with relatively low heavy lifting. It's just a consistency game. But what's more important to everyone listening is understanding what is social media for lawyers. What is it, Jay?
Social media marketing is just adapting technology to the way that people traditionally found lawyers. If you went back into the 40s and the 50s, long before lawyers were able to use any sort of advertising, the way lawyers got business was through networking and referrals. They were known in their communities as a go-to resource for how to start a business or whatever it was that the lawyer did. And so people would seek them out. Essentially, lawyers were the original social influencers, right? They were called on to be boards of hospitals and charities and be on the Board of Education and the like because of their knowledge, having gone to law school, but also because of their connections within the community. And all social media does, all Facebook really does, is allow us to amplify that through technology and remain top of mind when it comes to local social influence. And so really, all we're doing is capitalizing on the relationships that lawyers have traditionally used in order to develop business. In fact, and I know you probably hate to hear this, but a strong social presence and a strong social brand could eliminate your need to rely on pay-per-click, could eliminate your need to rely on any other source of business, because if you have a strong social presence, people naturally are going to want to send you business.
And I think that's a hard accomplishment to get to the point where you're so omnipresent on social to where, your brand is household name in your market for your practice area. But it's possible, and I've seen it happen actually here in Philadelphia with Top Dog Law, someone I went to school with.
I mean, the reality is there are lawyers out there who are using social really well to build their brand and generate a ton of work. And so if you want to get in now, while the barrier to entry is so low, now's your real opportunity to jump fully into social media marketing. Because if you don't, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll be working for the people who did jump into social this year.
Why do you think a lot of attorneys push social media off as the biggest excuse I hear is people don't go to Facebook to search for a lawyer. Why do they push it off and say it's a waste of time?
Well, because they don't recognize the purpose of social media and really the wonderful thing that social media can do. The biggest problem for lawyer marketing is that we're still stuck in this 1970s mindset that the only marketing you should do is to hot prospects. Hot prospects are a valuable source of legal business. But even Coca-Cola or any big brand continues to market their brand to people when they don't want something to drink, so that when they do, they only think of Coca-Cola. When you're sitting at home and you don't have any Coke in your house and you see that commercial, you think, oh, the next time at the store, maybe I'll pick some up. And then they have an end cap at the supermarket and they're running, some sort of promotion. Then you get an immediate response to them because you're familiar with the brand. And you can take any brand and do it with that. The problem with social is that it doesn't convert into a client today. And so many lawyers want to be able to say, I spent this dollar and I got this result. But the reality is for most lawyers is that we are not in the business where we're buying a widget or creating and selling a widget that is going to be, improved on next year, ripped off by people overseas, or something better is going to come along. We're in our practices for decades. And so by investing a little bit of money in your brand consistently over time, you're going to put yourself in a situation where your brand can send you business for years to come. And especially for lawyers, a lot of lawyers start off their practices by getting referrals from older lawyers. And many people don't ever change their referral sources. Getting your business when you're 35 from a lawyer who's 55 is great. There's a lot of value in that on both sides of the equation. But what happens when you're 60 and that lawyer's 80, right? They're out of the practice, or their opportunity to refer you business is limited. And you're now 60 saying, where did all my clients go? Why am I starving? Why can't I make the phone ring? But if you had invested just a little bit of time from 35 to 60 in building your own brand, and you do that on social, because that's where the eyeballs are at, you're going to wind up having more cases that you can handle for decades to come.
Great point. What percent would you say of social media marketing for lawyers is just showing up and doing it? No strategy at all, just pure consistency. What percent of it is just the consistency part versus the strategy part? Because I feel like a big reason people push off social is because they feel like they don't have a strategy. They need to plan what they're going to do, and then that ultimately becomes 5 years of no action taken. So what percent is consistency versus strategy in your eyes?
I think you can have a viable social plan in place where it's 90% showing up and 10% strategy. What I want to see is 365 posts. I want to see 730 posts in a year about things that people want to engage with. And guess, I'm going to say something here that might be revolutionary to some lawyers that are watching this, or it might be, that makes a lot of sense. And here it is. People on social media don't care about lawyer nerd stuff. I could have said lawyer nerd something else. But The reality is lawyers like to talk about law. People don't. And one of the biggest challenges lawyers have is that our whole world is marked through the framework of, I'm a lawyer, this is my role in the world, and I love the law. But your neighbor who is a teacher or works at a home improvement store, they don't care about the holding of a case. They don't care about your victories. They care about what's got the best sandwich in the neighborhood. Where's the best pizza? How cute is this dog? Right? That's what people want to engage with. People go on social media to escape their daily life. So if you can participate in the escapism with them and then use them to drive your brand forward, right? If you're building a brand and you want to put out some content about what it's like to go through a divorce with a stay-at-home parent on the other side, if you're a family lawyer, you can put that content out there in the context of a greater social media, just engagingly and being active. Then the people who see you and say, oh, that's a nice person, let me read his content or let me read her content. Those are the people who would then start at the top of a sales funnel, and then they can turn into hot prospects when the time is right. But they're not going to click on your content if you're just coming into their feed with zero sort of relevance to them. And that's the biggest problem is lawyers get too wrapped up in their egos. They think that everybody wants to hear them speak. And when in reality, people want to hear them engage, but don't necessarily want to hear them pontificate.
And it's so interesting to hear the humility come from you, being a lawyer, saying that's not what clients care about.
Last night, I had sent an idea for a social media series to one of the attorneys in my office, and they responded, "No, I'm not going to do that." And I wanted to grab them by the shoulders and be like, "Get out of your own ego, get out of your own way, be real. Don't be this lawyer high up on a perch that no one can talk to," even though it's very personable. But those are the types of things that people. I've said it in other videos, and I'll say it till my dying breath. People want to hire people that they know, like, and trust, and you can show them that you're someone to know, like, and trust by how you engage on social media.
If you were to give, and I had another question about the biggest setback to attorneys, using social media, and it seems like
ego. It's all ego. Lawyers think too highly of themselves, and they let their ego get in the way of making correct business decisions.
Wow. I didn't even have to ask that question.
I can't do that. People will think, that you don't like pepperoni on your pizza? Take a stand. You know what? There's a lot of people who don't like pepperoni on their pizza. Take that stand and get people to engage with you. Get people to tell you that you're wrong. Say, okay, fine, I'm going to go to your pizza shop. I'm going to try that pizza. Then post it and tag them and say, hey, I'm a real person just like you. Get out of your own head that you're this lawyer that, at the end of the day, people want to deal with people that they like.
Great way to put it. This applies to any niche. I mean, most absolutely. People, I mean, I do Instagram. I've done, on my phone, I've done, I don't even know how many Instagram stories I already did this morning. I probably did 10 this morning. I filmed myself in the morning when I write down my goals and gratitudes. I film myself sweating in the gym every morning. I try and break a sweat. I just started literally taking routines from my everyday life that I was just doing privately and saying, let me just film it. And then I had these objections thinking, oh, am I being egocentric by filming what I'm doing? Am I being narcissistic? Or I don't know, all these little weird thoughts going through my head. But it's crazy. I get direct messages from people now on Instagram going, hey, I saw you write your goals every day. And I started writing my goals for the first time in 9 years. I haven't written down my goals, and thank you so much. I learned so much through it. And all I'm doing is filming my own habits.
Yeah.
And that seems like what you're saying is just like, take your everyday life and hold the phone up. Right.
And be real. I mean, some of the best engagement I get when I post on social media is when I post my failures. Like I have a to-do list, and one of the things on my to-do list is to get this particular project done. And it's been on my to-do list forever. And at the end of the day, I never get it done. Yep. And it's something that I'll own. I failed at this. I didn't get this done yet again. And people that resonates with people because we all have failures. Social media has a tendency to only see the positive, and people only put the positive stuff out there. Once you start posting some of the negatives, things that you failed at, boy, imagine the engagement you get. I mean, I'm a perfect example of it. People love to comment, oh, you know what? It's really hard to do that. But as it's been said, and I don't know who said it, I'm sure, you can Google it or find it on your favorite search engine. But if you want to have different results, you have to do different things. And one of the things that I'll say, and I'll say it again, lawyers, get out of the way of your own ego. At the end of the day, your ego can crush you when it comes to marketing and developing your practice.
Yep. Yeah. And I very much side with that and especially men, right? Men feel like they can't be vulnerable. And for me, I'm wide open about, my biggest struggles growing up with anxiety. I actually wrote a book. It's a 240-page book that I wrote called Worry 180. And I wrote the book and I didn't want to release it to anyone because I was so embarrassed that, when I was in college, my family went bankrupt and we had a divorce and we lost everything. And I was so embarrassed to explain to the world what I went through because I thought it was wrong. I thought it was this thing I needed to hold private. But actually the thing that sparked my brand, going from, I don't even know, 500 followers on Instagram. Now I have almost 11,000 in, I don't know, 6 months, is being vulnerable about all of this stuff. And the beauty is on the other side of your failures, it, you know, is usually the strategies that define you as a person. So for me, my anxiety forced me to get my health in check. It forced me to swear by a morning routine. And, you know, I have another video on my morning routine on YouTube. And had I not went through that suffering when everything, you know, hit the fan with my family, I'm pretty sure I would not have the habits that I have today, because I had to manage my own mind. But that's what people need to realize, is that on the opposite side of these quote unquote failures you think you have, people will find inspiration in that, because on the other side of your failures, there will be something you learn that, even if you just share the story and what you learn, people will literally, you know, my morning routine video, people stop it and they'll watch the exact, you know, part and rewind it when I get vulnerable. It's so funny when you look at analytics on YouTube. You know, I just agree.
It's interesting. So I'm also an author. I've written a number of books. My most recent book is called Tiger Tactics, Powerful Strategies for Winning Law Firms. And I wrote it with 4 other attorneys. And it basically, for a while, it was ranked #1 in the law practice management category on Amazon. And so what we did in that book is we took 10 different chapters about starting and growing a practice. And we basically were all vulnerable throughout the book, talking about our failures, the things that we didn't do well, the things that we did do right, so that other lawyers can see that it's not all, it's not all the good stuff that's out there. Sometimes you got to go through some rough patches. I talked about me being behind in making my tax payments early on in my career in one of the chapters about getting your financials in order in the book. And inevitably, whenever I'm at a conference, people will come up to me and they'll say, hey, you know, I read Tiger Tactics. I loved it. Your message really spoke to me in this chapter. Or they'll go to some of my other co-authors and say the exact same thing, because vulnerability is humility. Vulnerability is humanity. It's what we all share, but people are afraid to just own it. And so that's why I say all along, ego gets in the way. And, sometimes some of my best systems in my office have come from me getting up in front of people in my office and saying, hey, I failed here, folks. And I don't want to ever fail like this again. So what system can we develop so that this failure doesn't happen?
Wow. What a great point right there. And vulnerability is almost like the fuel for a good social strategy, because that allows for shareable content. That allows for people to mention you to others. And I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. So if you were to give a prescription for most attorneys, and obviously, you owning Firm Flex, let's kind of push that aside. So, as you guys know, Jay owns Firm Flex, social media marketing agency for lawyers. But let's push that aside. I know you have entry-level programs that help people with content ideas, consistency, accountability. But for most lawyers to get the gears turning on social, what would be your prescription for most lawyers?
Well, I think that one of the easiest things to do is pick an area of your life that you're willing to live on social and just post about it. So if you're a runner, right, if that's part of your life, you don't have to post about your family. Just post about where you're going running. Post about your sneakers. Post about places in your community that you like to run. Places, other people that you've met who are runners, stretches that you do, that type of thing. You don't have to live your whole life online, but you have to give them a glimpse of something that you are outside of law. Because that's how you're going to get people to connect with you. And it could be that you're a runner, but they're not a runner, but they're a swimmer, right? But you can still find a way to connect with somebody because they value some of the same things that you do, or at least have been able to identify with it. If you're a family person and feel comfortable doing that, you can. If you're a foodie, you can be into food and post about that. I have one friend who, just takes pictures of every meal, talks about what the meal is, gives it a rating so that they can go back in their social media when they're at that restaurant and see what it is that they liked and things in the past. And of course, the restaurant may share it on social. Just live out loud, basically, would be the takeaway from this. Find something that you can feel comfortable living out loud with, and then go all in.
So here's a funny point is, you know, I think everyone thinks that being salesy needs to be avoided, right? Which I agree. You don't want to always be pitching. There's a book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, 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 Right Hook on give, then ask, right? And I agree with that. But here's the thing. People forget about profiles. We live in a research community, in a research time period, I'll say. And getting attention, okay, getting attention doesn't mean every time you get attention you have to pitch. For example, if you were to be a foodie, right, and just post about food all the time, but your bio on Facebook, your bio on Instagram, they Google your name, your bio on your website all shows your expertise, what you do, right? They'll put 2 and 2 together. Your job is just to get attention, and people are smart. I mean, we're human beings. We build civilizations from scratch with our minds and computer programs. Like, people can take 2 and 2, put it together and go, oh, Jay's posting about X, Y, and Z. Wait, what's Jay do again? Oh, I heard about him through a friend. Okay. Oh, let's look at his bio on Facebook. Click. Let's look at his bio on Instagram. Click. Whatever. They can put 2 and 2 together. So for me, on mine, I post nothing about marketing on my Facebook, but in my, on Facebook and Instagram, but in my bio, it says award-winning lead generation, PPC, SEO, whatever. I just use keywords there. And people put 2 and 2 together. And they go, right. Oh, you do PPC. Oh, great. Let me get a quote.
You know? Well, and one of the things you have to realize is that, there's a lot of analogies that have been made that, social media is like a dinner party, right? Where everyone's sitting around talking and they're talking about different topics, in the kitchen, in the dining room, in the living room. You have all these little pockets of conversations about things. And if someone shows up at that door and just goes into the kitchen, the living room, dining room, just selling, hard selling every time, people are going to look at me like, who's this jerk? I don't want this jerk here. And that's one of the problems with social is that if you're always selling, people will just go like this and they won't care anymore about any of your messages. So really it's all about just putting yourself out there and just being a real person online and developing that core following of people who know, like, and trust you.
Great. So let's dive into, I had a question here. How does social media tie into going to the gym? But we already kind of went into the consistency component, right?
It's all about consistency. There's nothing worse than somebody, seeing somebody attack social media for, my 2020 resolution was to be on social media, and now it's Monday, January 27th, and they haven't posted anything on social media in 3 weeks. They knocked it out of the park for 3 days, and that was it. It's about consistency. It's about showing up. It's about getting those reps in.
Yep. So then this leads into my question. What is Firm Flex?
Okay. So what we found in our office was that even though all of the lawyers here believed in social, especially me, of course, we needed to have some sort of accountability, and we needed to make it easy for people to execute. Because, if you add more barriers, it's going to be harder for people to execute. And, as lawyers, especially, you got your family, you got your clients, you got a million things that are taking up, space in your head. So what FirmFlex does with our do-it-yourself plan, it's under $100 a month. Basically, every morning we send you a text message. We give you the theme of the week. We give you the daily topic. We give you hashtags. We give you images that are curated to go with that. You're getting anywhere between 3 and 10 ideas a day. Some days we will push you to do some shameless self-promotion or do more than one post in a day. And it's all set up to make sure that you can get up in the morning, execute something to engage your audience on social media. And then what we do is we have an accountability check every night at 8 p.m. We check in with you to make sure that you are actually accomplishing what you need to accomplish, just like a personal trainer's at the gym. I go to a gym, and my best workouts are twice a week when I'm with my trainer, as opposed to the other days when I go by myself, right? And some weeks I don't ever go by myself because I only make those appointments when I know I've got the trainer there to hold me accountable. So we hold you accountable on social media by making sure that we give you everything that you need to execute, and then we follow up with you over the course of the day to make sure that you got it done. And we have a very vibrant Facebook group where people are exchanging ideas and testing new things out. We have a whole bunch of hacks that people can that can implement in their practice. Like we talked about in one of our other videos, I do a lot of $1-a-day hacks. So it's low dollar but high return, building your brand on social very inexpensively so that you can see value without spending a lot of money.
Awesome. So if anyone's interested, and that's really just Jay's entry level program, it's getfirmflex.com. We'll probably have a link in the description of the video. He has higher level packages as well, fully managed, where he'll do all the work in addition to, you still have to do some work. There is no, hands-free.
And that's really the big thing. If you're going to get into social media, don't just turn around and say, okay, I'm going to spend $50,000 on social media this year. Let me just write an agency a check and then look away. Social media is social. It's the people who want to connect with you. It's your personal network. So you can do social media and derive value from social media just by doing a daily posting that seeks engagement, that gets people talking, and allows you to re-engage with those people. That's the wonderful thing about social, is that the people in your existing network are people that know you and like you already. They trust you already. They want to refer you business. So if you could just remind them constantly, and if you say you have 1,000 friends say you have 500 friends, and they each know 10 people that can give you business over the next 10 years, that's 5,000 potential clients that you can have over the next decade. And it's just reminding people that you exist and what it is that you do.
Every time I talk to you, I literally have a pen and I take notes. So hey, thank you so much, Jay. Again, if you guys are interested in going to work with Jay, I think the best bet is to get started on his entry level program, which is under 100 a month.
I would highly recommend it, because what you'll see is when you start doing the do-it-yourself program, it's a low barrier to entry. Every lawyer who's watching this can afford just $100 a month. It's actually less than that. And it's just an opportunity to just start to see results from just tapping your existing network. And there's tips and tricks and hacks that we teach you in our program to really amplify it. But you can get in at social slowly, but consistently, and really see results.
Yep. So I would say to start there, build habits, then start scaling your efforts once you have the habits down.
Exactly, Bill. You got it right there. You build the habit, and the habit serves you well for decades to come.
Thank you so much, Jay. Anybody who wants to get notifications when we release new law firm marketing videos, please subscribe to our channel and go to smbteam.com. That's my marketing agency. We do PPC for lawyers all over the United States. Put your email in and we'll send you a daily value add email to your inbox on law firm marketing every day of the year. Yeah, it's pretty persistent. Thank you so much for your time, energy, and attention. Stay great. Grow your firm. This is the year to grow.